Okay, so we are now ready to start our drawing. We're going to move all of our materials to the side. And preferably you're going to find a flat surface so that you can put your apple and your paper. And a place for you to sit down. So a chair is good. I don't want you sitting on the floor for this. I want you to be taller than your apple. And it's also good to have lighting up ahead, up above, like this. So that's what's going to give you this nice highlight right here. It's going to give you that nice shadow right there. Okay, so here we have our white piece of paper. The first thing I want you to do is we're going to draw the top of the apple. So it's going to be kind of an oval shape like this. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm drawing this part. So that is step one. And then I'm going to find the widest part of my apple, which is here and here, right? Here and here. And then I'm going to draw some very light lines to try to find what curve this is. And then we're going to try to find the bottom of it. Okay, so the bottom of it is somewhere over here, and it's not perfect. But now we're going to go back to the top, and look at that line. Isn't that interesting? So it's not a perfect circle either, because an apple is a living creature, and it is made by nature. It's going to have some really cool, interesting shapes. So now I'm just going to use my eyes, and I'm going to observe that this is actually a lot rounder than I thought. And this is a little bit rounder too. And it comes down like that. Okay? Okay, something like that. Okay, now we're going to try to find where the center of the apple is. Don't mind that, that was just my dog. We're going to draw a curved line like this to try to find the center of this round shape. So it's somewhere over here. We're going to draw a circle for the stem, and the stem is only poking out a little bit. So let's just put that there as a reference. And now we say that there's parts of the apple that are coming out of the center. So that's what those lines are. And we're going to go out like that. Okay? Okay, now the trick to the apple is trying to find the highlights. So now we're moving on. Now that we have the outside shape, we have an idea of it. That's really good. We have connected all of our outlines. We are going to draw where the highlights are as ovals. So that is our second step. So we're going to draw this, we're going to draw this, we're going to draw that. Do you see this white part right here? And this is lighter than that part, isn't it? And this part and this part are almost the same. But yours is going to be different, I promise you. Because this same apple, when I drew it earlier today, the highlights were completely different. They were on the top and the side and kind of in the middle towards the left. So, and if you look at the shadow, this shadow is perfectly almost symmetrical or equal on both sides. Whereas when I drew the same apple earlier, the lighting was coming from here, which is why the shadow is going that way. Okay, so let's go back to our apple and draw our highlights. So we're going to draw about an oval here, about an oval here, another oval here. So these are going to be our highlights. And you know what? I'm seeing another one right here. So this is kind of the trick to drawing an apple and how we're going to make it look round. And now what we're going to do is, using a grayscale, we're going to find the shadows. Where are the darkest parts? Right? Where are the darkest parts of our apple? It's actually down here, right? In this particular case. So we're going to draw very lightly what we think our darkest part is. And I just want you to shade it. Just so that we remember, this is the darkest part. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to our highlights. In order for something to look like a highlight, you have to shade around it so that that part is the lightest. So let's shade around our highlights, which were those 3 circles we saw earlier. But to be honest with you, I see another one here and I see another one here. So this highlight is there, but it's probably not as light as the other ones. So you see what happens when you start to shade around your highlighted areas, the highlighted areas pop. I'm going to draw my stem a little darker so I remember where I am. Okay, now we're going to do a lot of fun, and we're going to look at where, not the darkest part, we said this is the darkest part, but where's the next darkest spot? And I'm seeing it here. I'm seeing some of it here, here, and here. I'm also seeing some of it here and here. So this is what you do when you draw from observation. You are trying to find the shapes that are the darkest and the shapes that are the lightest, and then you connect them. And the shapes can look kind of like that. And I see that this is really dark over here. All of this is really dark. Okay, but let's remember, this is the darkest part. So don't forget, when you're figuring out your shadows, where your darkest part is, and just keep going back to it and make it darker and darker and darker. Okay, because that's the darkest part. Something like that. Okay, so now that we have our medium dark areas and our brightest areas, let's connect all of our shapes using circular motions, because we're drawing a circular object. We're going to try to connect the whole apple. Because it's round. We're going to make it round by the way that we shade. And here I'm going to shade it a little lighter to make that highlighted area a little smaller. Okay. And then I see that my apple is going inside. So I'm going to make my lines go inside too, and then here it's a little bit darker. Let me tell you something, this takes practice. So it's perfectly normal if you don't know what you're looking at, because practicing just seeing takes a lot of concentration. Okay. So let's go back, let's look at our apple here, and let's look at this. Is this as dark? Is this shadow as dark as that? No. Let's go back. Ooh. Sometimes I like the color in the opposite direction, just to make sure that I don't see any of the white underneath, because I want that shadow to be nice and dark. Okay. This is really good, you guys. So now I'm going to, with more confidence, draw my outside shape now that I have figured out a little bit more about where my apple is. And this is really good. And notice I have not used my eraser. You can use your eraser if you like, but I prefer that you don't. So you can just use your eyes. Okay? Okay, Okay, so let's go back and highlight these areas again. You see how they're a little bit smaller? There is there. Where's this? This is here. It's gotten lost. Okay. And I just like to draw circles of where the highlighted areas are so that I don't forget. Okay. So there's my apple. And now the next step is you're going to take your marker. So now you're going to, remember that dark line that you drew? You're going to draw around that and your shadow. And we're going to take the lesson we learned from Amy Sherald, and we're going to use only the gray of the pencil to make up the features of our subject, which in this case is an apple. Now, I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it to be perfect, you can use a straight edge. But look, mine is not. And then you're just going to color it in. Remember, if you don't have a highlighter, you can use a pen or a marker. A pen, because it's a smaller point, is going to cover less surface area, and it's going to take you longer. That's okay. I just want you to meditate during this time. Just have some fun. And just fill in the background, color it all in. And I am going in one single direction, just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, because I want my background to be flat. And to make things flat, you use strokes that are in only one direction, like this. Okay? And then I'm going to outline my background. So it just gives that sense of confidence and completion. Okay, good job, you guys. If you want to keep going, you can. You certainly can. You can definitely keep finding out where that shadow is and making it darker and darker and darker. But don't forget to look at your subject. Right? And you can definitely keep going, keep going, keep going. And that's how you're going to get a really good drawing, is if you keep trying to define what it is you're looking at. That looks really good, you guys. That looks great. Okay. There you have it.